Thank you, Gail. Welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Town Council for December 2nd, 2013. Steve Berry, if you could lead us in the pledge.
To the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doris?
Counselor Hammond?
Here.
Counselor Hurley?
Here.
Counselor Kotkin?
Here.
Counselor Manousos?
Here.
Counselor Martino?
Here.
Counselor Rell?
Here.
Counselor Roberts?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Barry?
Here.
And Mayor Montanari.
Here.
Thank you.
There are no hearings. We'll move immediately into public comment. Anyone here wishing to address the public? Yes.
We did.
We did.
She wasn't recording it.
Sorry. We were very soft.
It was quick.
It's quick and painless.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Randall, 35 Beverly Road. And I'm here to make a few brief comments, I guess they're brief, about the Historic District Master Plan dated July 2008. I thought that was a really good document. I know a lot of work went into it, both from the town administrative and then all the citizens of the town. I think it's really a neat document. It's been referenced in several other studies. And I periodically go through it because I find it very good. And I'm always amazed when I go through it at how well the town is doing against it. I think it's one of the studies in town that we're actually using, and you can see progress against it. And I'm looking forward to the next thing that's coming up, and that's when we address the 4 intersections in old historic Weathersfield. I think, as several people have said here, it's going to be the best entertainment in town for a while. I wanted to get my request in early on this because I'm asking that information I haven't seen be available. I'm referring to the 4 intersections of Main and Church, Main and Hartford, Main and State, and State and Hartford. All of these have anywhere from, if I count it right, 2 to 3 or 4 proposed items in there, one of which is no change, which that's good. And it goes on to talk in the document about these intersections, about public using Old Weathersfield, such terms as traffic calming, ongoing enforcement, traffic control guidelines, that famous or infamous document that is used as an out whenever somebody from the public comes in here and asks for something that the town Public Safety Committee doesn't want to do. That's my opinion, because that document does say to use engineering judgment. So as soon as you apply that, you can do anything you want, as long as it's good judgment, but we hide under it. So in any case, in this document, the Historic Master Plan, it talks about the police have done studies and targeted enforcement and has not been able to identify, this is a rough quote, a problem with speeding in these areas. And I as a on a non-statistical basis, using Old Weathersfield as a walking spot over the years, I have to agree with them. It's pretty good. You know, we all periodically see somebody zipping around, that's what we remember. But in general, I agree with them. What I haven't been able to find or see in this study or any of the many studies or comments is how we stand as a town, especially in enforcement against yield signs, stop signs, right turn on red. That won't be a problem in Old Weathersfield. And especially the crosswalks down there. I don't believe there are any proper studies done that we can go to when we start talking about what changes, if any, do we want to make to these intersections. And in my opinion, based on observations, I really like Cove Deli. I'll put in a plug here for them. I like to sit down there and watch the road go by in the morning after my walk. And I see all kinds of vehicles go through, in this case, the intersection at Main and Hartford Avenue. And that stop sign there, there are 2 of them, are violated on a regular basis. There is no enforcement, in my opinion. I have seen, not just this intersection, but, and I think it's getting worse, other intersections throughout town, but I'm going to stay focused on these four. I have seen, as an example, a poor example of our town vehicles violating stop signs, violating the crosswalks when people are in them. So, and this is an ongoing endemic thing. And when I say town vehicles, I'm talking about the administrative vehicles, safety vehicles, which is really disconcerting, public works vehicles. So, in terms of traffic calming, I think we need to focus a little bit on on ongoing enforcement in this, and to the point of having some valid information on what's going on. And to get that valid information, I hope it exists, because it's a year-long effort, because as we all think about this, the tourist industry varies greatly depending on atmospheric environmental conditions, as does the school year. Who's using sidewalks when and where has a big impact. And I mentioned this weather, the different seasons. So you can't go out there right now and look at it and say, we don't have a problem, because when the amount of people using these intersections, crosswalks, and the vehicles is going to change dramatically come spring and summer. So the study needs to have been done already, or we're going to have a real problem down there. As I say, when the town vehicles are violating these, the example set for me as a town citizen is not good. So I would ask that information be available for this discussion. There's many other factors that are going to come up during this. As I say, it's going to be very difficult and challenging for I guess it'd be the EDIC people that are leading this. So I would ask, I'm repeating myself, but it's very important to me, and I think it'll be important to the rest of town for this one process of traffic calming. I don't think there's such a term. It's going to need enforcement. We need to know what's being enforced, and what I observe hasn't been enforcement. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. Mr. Colantonio.
Good evening, Gus Colantonio, 16 Morrison Avenue. I guess, the newer consuls, they're going to get to know me quickly. A few comments. First of all, thank you to the town manager for filling up that little trench in front of the high school. It's much easier going by now. At least, you don't feel like you're going to lose the front end of your car. I've said this before, some observation on Charter Road, and a couple of streets coming into it. There is no sight distance at all on those intersections, but yet there are stop signs in both directions on Charter Road. From, I guess, the north of Charter Road to the town line. And isn't it amazing that as soon as you go by the town line, there is also another intersection coming in on the Rocky Hill side, but there is only one stop sign, not two. And I'm not saying that you need it, The sight distance is plenty. Like on Hillcrest Avenue, the town manager of the town has taken some measurements, and they have said that you don't really need the stop sign on Hillcrest Avenue, which I agree, but I don't mind it. But they also have taken measurements on Tifton Road and Morrison Avenue. The intersection sight distance is only good for 24 miles per hour. The posted speed is 25, and most of the people go 31 miles per hour. Now, I don't know how the town, and when I say the town, it's the town council, the manager, the town engineer, and the police department, which, to my knowledge, they are not engineers. How can you deny a stop sign on Morrison Avenue when it's needed? I don't understand. How can you justify? But anyway, this will not be the last time I'll be up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Young.
Good evening, Robert Young, 20 Copper Mill Road. Since our last meeting, The next day, after the last meeting, I should say, which had some very interesting conversations. One of them we talked about was the Metropolitan District Water Company. And I got my water bill that next day after the last meeting. Put me into shock. $172 just for water. And of course, when I'm reading here, there's consumption, that means water coming in, and then there's talks about a special sewage service charge, which has been going on for some time. But it appears as though it's getting more aggressive. So I guess this must mean that these are the dollars that they need for that big water project that other people voted for that I didn't vote for. And now I have to pay the tax, to pay the fees that I said no to. And I'm not happy about that. $172. And last time was $177. That's ridiculous. And half of it is special sewer charge. Also, what we talked about last time was, actually it was the first meeting, full meeting you had of the new administration. And there was talk about the charter revision. And I threw in some ideas back then. And I don't really have too many more things to talk about, but I would like to say that, you know, the discontent that we're seeing out across Weathersfield when it comes to voting is disturbing. 14% was approximately what our highest vote getter got, and the lowest vote getter who's sitting here, I think, was around 12% of the entire eligible people who were able and registered to vote. And I've suggested that, you know, maybe we need to get these people in to vote and get them more active into their local government. I mean, just look what we have here. I mean, 8 or 10 people are here from the public, and there's more of you than us. And there's a lot of days, a lot of evenings, it's a similar situation. And I really believe that in this charter revision that's coming up, that you would take a stand, a good firm stand on the issue of referendum for the public. And today, the way the voting booth is designed, you could come up with 2 different budgets. Town side, Board of Education side. And the next column over could be, do you approve it or disapprove it for either one of those? If they say yes, no, the next column over would be, would you want to increase it or decrease it? And you could go out a number of steps to see what the public really thinks regarding their budgets. And that then would give you the direction where to go from there. Now, there's a lot of people that say, oh, the old folks will come out and vote against this and vote against that. But I see totally the opposite in many cases. So I think it's a good possibility that you would get a good cross-section of the entire town. And that would get people involved, because now they're looking at their car taxes, they're looking at their property tax, they're looking at their MDC tax. I mean, all these things start to add up to big dollars. Like my MDC bill is going up, and my tax bills have been going up, and everything just keeps rising. I don't see salaries going up. But I think we need to somehow get people interested in coming down here, going to the polls, and voting, which is terrible. But I really think you could come up with a good plan with what you currently have to give the folks of Weathersfield a good shot at helping to direct where the budget should be. And you could do it all through the voting booth. They come in, like I say, different checks, yes, higher, lower, 2%, 4%, 10%, up or down, whatever it might be. It's a crapshoot. But it would be, get people involved. And we need to do that. Now, I know you're going to be forming this committee. I hope you don't load it up with people who are in favor totally of nothing. Keep it as it is. I hope you eliminate a number of people that are, on pensions with the state of Connecticut, on salaries with the state of Connecticut, people who are Same with the town of Weathersfield, and I've talked about nepotism. We have to totally avoid that issue as well. I mean, I really think you need to do a real tough screening process when you go into this. I was very disappointed in the last time we had a charter revision, and I went to a number of meetings, and you know, people who just didn't want to even listen. And I can't say it was one side or the other. It was both sides. So, you know, we need to do something to get people involved. And I don't know how we're going to do it, except for that's a suggestion. And you might even think, you know, we just went through a tough election with a very small turnout. You might want to think about John Council, who is currently not on the town council anymore, as a member of that group, only because he knows the rules, the regulations. He's been around long enough, but I don't know if he has any conflicts of interest, but he might be a very good participant for something like that. Also, as we're going into this this new administration, I would urge you to spend our money more wisely. I think we've seen a lot of special interest going on in the past years, and I don't mean just the past 4 years. It's gone further back, and we need to stomp that out. We need to take care of this nepotism business as well. People who have relationships should not be allowed to, they have the right to run for election, for a position, but once they're in, if they're related somehow and there's a budget that has some kind of, that touches anywhere near one of their family members, they should not be allowed to vote. And I say that to the Board of Education as well, because now we have 2 people sitting over there. And I think in time we'll find more. My opinion. But we need to do something to shake out the shaft and get the better candidates and the better results. So I think that we need to also look at our school system, which has been terrible. Our test scores, our standardized test scores have been plummeting this year. We as a school district, let's go back 5 years ago, we were rated against all the other towns in the state of Connecticut on the average of our CMTs and our CAP tests in the 70s. Last year we were 99. This year we were 112. We keep dropping down. And if we keep continuing this, we'll be Hartford in no time. And I don't think we want to see that, because we're going to lose the value of our properties. You folks should be the leaders of pushing the values of our properties up. And we've seen them come down with the recession. We see prices still dangling down there. We hear prices going up of homes, but I don't really see them happening in our town. You might see a little spike here and a little one over there, but in general, no. I don't think we're seeing prices coming up, and that's because we have problems. So thank you very much, Mayor. I'm sure I ran over my time, but thank you.
Mr. Seekis.
Lee Seekis, 117 Wells Road. It's that time of year again where the snow is due to come, and luckily it hasn't. And I want to just say that we should remind people to keep their sidewalks clear, the corners, curb cuts clear. And there's one thing I hate to say. We're supposed to respect our government and our police, and I do to a degree, but I've been told by a couple different officers, not just in regards to snow, but in regards to other things, that I know they did wrong, but I didn't want to ticket them because that might cost them their families groceries for the week. Now, if we're not going to have enforcement of the law, how can you expect people to even want to follow the law? Is this going to make them want to disobey it more? And talk about stop signs, like Gus does often, and rightfully so. I went down to People's Bank and Walmart and Stop and Shop today. I know the street between the bank and the Hartford Medical Building is a private road. But like I said a few months back, from the sidewalk to where the street is, Sasson Highway, that's not a private property. And I think there should be a stop sign there, because with the renovation going on at the doctor's building, the repaving in the parking lot today, I almost got hit by a vehicle, and really, one person says go, and it looks like the other car's gonna stop, and really, stop signs are needed where safety is called for before accidents, not after accidents. And I'd just like to say, I want to wish the new town council good luck with all the things they have to fight, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Sekas. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to council reports. Any council reports?
Mr. Mayor?
Tony?
On November 21st, Jerry and I were both at the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, and they're currently working on, for next May 19th, to have a spring event fair at the community center. They're planning to have people there to discuss the various trails within the state of Connecticut. Wine trails, chocolate trails, antique trails, and a few others. So they're trying to put something together so that our seniors can see all these various things that are available to get trips out that people can go on to.
Thank you, Tony. Other reports?
Yeah, there was one thing. I was at the tourism committee last week, and they just wanted to make sure everybody remembered that this Thursday is the Christmas on Main. I believe it starts at 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Mike. Other reports? Council comments? Council comments? Everybody's quiet today? Holy cow. I want to mention two quick things. I talked briefly with Nancy Stillwell this morning about sort of the holiday season, and as most of us are aware, it is such a great time of year, but it's also, unfortunately, a time of year that those in need seem to surface most prominently. I asked Nancy a little bit about how social and youth services as well as town services were progressing with respect to needs out there, and told her that I would share publicly that there is a need for help for young people. The staff at Social and Youth Services generally tries to gather support for children throughout the greater Hartford area who have needs. They have a specific program for that. Generally, they're looking for community support with respect to gift cards, which appears to be the way of the world, but even in terms of social needs. So if our community is interested in supporting or helping in any way in that regard, I certainly encourage anybody from the public to reach out to that office, which is staffed throughout the day. And I think you'll get a warm response. And there are several businesses that we're talking with about corporate sponsorship in that vein as well. I know Mike mentioned the holidays on Main. It is this Thursday from 5 to 9. Main Street through a good section of Old Weathersfield will be closed for events. There'll be vendors on the street, food, jugglers. Those that went last year will recall it was a fairly large event. It's actually bigger in scope this year. There'll be a formal tree lighting at 6:30 in front of the tree in front of Lucky Lou's. We know it was very successful last year. I suspect it'll be equally successful this year, and so I encourage residents to please participate. Reminder that there's a salute for business on Thursday, December 12th, from 5:30 to 8:30, which is held on behalf of the community and our businesses locally, and that's open to the public as well. Anybody interested can reach out to the Chamber of Commerce or the Economic and Development Planning Office here in town for information about attending. Thank you in advance for that consideration. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple things. From the last meeting, there was a question about the size and cost of the Hartford Hospital expansion. The size of the expansion is 12,865 square feet. The estimated cost, at least on the building permit, this does not include finishes and furniture, but it was 1.1 million. We also had a question about the former chocolate railroad station there. The screening is in place, but we're going to check to make sure it comes back alive in the spring. And we had a request to measure the window signage at the pawn shop on Celestine. We had some people out on vacation, and so we'll get to that before the next council meeting.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. Dolores, anything from your side?
No, we have an audit that is coming up on this Thursday for 3 districts for our, the election we had in November. It's mandated by the state. They have like a bingo barrel, and they put in all the voting districts in the state, and we were lucky to get 3 of them pulled this time out of 6, and we have to do 3 different offices, which are exactly what we happened to have on our ballot this last time. So the registrars have set that up, and it will take place in this council chamber this Thursday, all day.
Thank you, Dolores. Jeff, you got something?
I had one other thing. I'm hearing that we have some people have a problem with the 10th making it to the special meeting. How many people can't make the 10th? 1, 2, 3.
That was the day I couldn't, or if
You
it was
could go
earlier, I
early.
could go.
How early, for those that can go, how early is early? Is it 6, 6:15?
6 is fine.
Is that all right? You're not gonna make it
I
anyway.
won't make it.
So for those that
You
can,
can't make it at 6, though, Stop?
I can make it at 6, I just need to leave by
Mike and Donna, you got,
7:15.
who, everybody else can make it at 6 on,
Yeah.
on Thursday of next week?
No,
No,
You can't.
no.
you can't either?
I can't either.
So we got
2,
we got
3.
5. Yeah, huh?
It's close. And we have quorum, but
What about the 11th? How's the 11th?
I'm good on either.
I'm good, as long as it's after 6.
Okay.
Is that a Wednesday?
That's Wednesday, the 11th, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you do the 11th,
Yep.
Stoppy?
Hold on.
I won't be available on the 11th.
That should be okay.
So we have, looks like we have 8 on the
And
11th.
I am, okay. Yeah.
All right, then
So we'll
we'll
go
make
with
it,
the
no
11th.
offense,
7?
we'll go with
Can
the
we-
11th.
At 7 o'clock, possibly?
Okay,
At 7?
11th at 7.
So you'll put out an email, right?
Donna won't be here, so we're at 7.
That's better than 5.
Actually, can we do it at 6?
Jeff can't do that.
You can't do it at 6.
I'm not sure. Probably not, 6:30 would probably be okay.
Yeah, 6:30 would be better.
All right, so let's
for
do
me.
6:30.
Okay.
6:29, 6:28.
I'm okay.
Okay.
And this is for what?
This is the special meeting for the high school
High school
bids.
bids.
One round of high school bids.
So 6:30 on the 11th, and you'll get an email out. Thank you, Jeff.
Mayor?
Yes, Don?
I was asleep at the switch here. I just wanted to make a comment about the great work that the town crew did on the leaf pickup. I think it's the end of the, this is the last week, and I saw a bunch of crews out over the weekend, and I think from citizens' point of view, it looks like it's gone smoothly. And they've done a great job, so just kudos to the leaf crew and everybody in town that works on that.
Yeah, that was good work. Thank you, Jerry, for sharing that. Also want to mention, and Rich just reminded me by sitting there, but there was a significant fire in town today on Bittersweet. A resident was occupying the house, an elderly gentleman. He was able to get out with the help of a neighbor and the staff from the fire department that responded. So there was no injuries, thankfully, but it was a pretty significant fire. I think 5 towns probably came out, if I saw correctly on the news. So, and it was a fully engulfed fire, from what I gather. So I think they protected the neighborhood, the other nearby houses, and certainly the residents. So, you know, quite a story. Unfortunately, for the season time it is to lose your home, but thankfully the gentleman did get out. So, nice job, Rich, to you and your staff. We have no resignations, but we do have 2 appointments. Deputy Mayor?
Motion to appoint to the Historic District Commission, Chris Lyons, 21 Woodland Street, the term 12/2/13 through 6/30/2014.
And the Building Committee.
And the Building Committee, David Drake, 14 Quail Hill, 12/2/13 to the project completion.
Thank you.
Second?
Second?
Thank you. I did want to mention, I reached out specifically to Dave. Those of you who obviously know that Dave served on the council and was a liaison to the building committee throughout his years on the council. And shortly after the election, as I think I mentioned at our swearing in, really liked David, thought he did a terrific job on council, was saddened that he didn't get through the election process, but reached out to him. He needed a week of thinking through stuff and clearing his head, but he has been a gentleman to step up and offer his willingness to serve on that committee, and I think it makes a seamless transition as Steve Barry was sitting in that spot on the building committee, and obviously had to relinquish that. So I think that's a really good thing that David has offered that up. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No abstentions? Moving on to council action, 3A, approval of submission of firefighters assistance grant. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. There's,
Need
I
a
want to make a
motion
motion first.
Yep.
I move to approve the submission of a grant proposal for firefighters assistant grant for the purchase of a new fire truck.
Second?
Thank you. Now, Mr. Town Manager, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you know, we've solicited bids for a new fire truck. Those bids are in. The Public Safety Committee will be reviewing those bids with the fire department shortly. However, we have an opportunity to request some grant funds for the purchase of the truck. And we would request grants for most of the purchase of the truck. The deadline is December 6th for submission. Most of the grant is prepared. We just need authorization to submit for that. We'll know in February if we get the grant. If not, then we'll continue with the purchase plan as we did in the current year budget. But we'd like to submit that grant and take advantage of it if we can.
That's terrific.
And the chief is here to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council about that? Thank you. Thanks for coming. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. 4A is awarding of bids for the replacement of the roof at Prospect Street. Have a motion? Jeff?
I move to award a purchase order to Pawcatuck Roofing in the amount of $25,559 for the replacement of roof C at the Weathersfield Volunteer Ambulance Facility.
Second?
Thank you. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is, as I said in the memo, this is the fourth of 3 roofs that have already been replaced at some point in time. This will be a flat roof portion, and Mike has a sample of the material we're proposing to use, and maybe he can talk a little bit more about the plan for this piece of roofing.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilor. As the manager pointed out, this has been on the radar screen for the Capital Improvement Committee. They actually recommended the funding 2 years back. And we did solicit bids, and or we thought we could be able to try soliciting quotes, and that was on the basis of some input from the Infrastructure Committee to try a new product. And the product is a liquid applied roofing material, and I'll pass this down just so that you could get a feel for it. The existing roof is the typical hot tar with tar paper, and it's a messy deal. What this contractor is proposing to do is we'll rip up that entire roofing system. There's what's known as a Yankee gutter system, which is basically a slot through the roof that the water drains actually through the roof and is collected underneath in piping as the gutter system, which is the source of numerous leaks. This particular roof is the cause of more roof leak calls to Tremco than all of our other roofs combined, to give you a perspective of the dire need for this roof to be done. So what our intention is to infill that Yankee gutter system, put in conventional roof drains on the roof, slope it with insulation, and this material is actually 4 coats of liquid applied roofing. And it's the newest thing. It's a white roof, so the tensile strength on the roof is phenomenal. We'll get definitely the full 20-year warranty, and in this particular case, the vendor is well known to Tremco. They helped us vet the bidders list, so they're happy with these guys as the selected vendor, and we're well under our budget.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Questions? Jeff?
Mike, what is the budget for this?
The budget is 40.
Is 40, and this is coming in
Yes.
25?
Yes.
And so this firm has extensive experience using this particular
Using this
product?
particular product, yes.
Do you know what other sites, or where?
They're based out of the east side of the state, so I didn't know the specific roof locations.
Okay, but they're very familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Other questions, counselors?
Just real quick, Mike, this is one roof of 4, I guess?
Yes.
Are we gonna be here 2 years from now, 5 years from now with roof number B or letter B? And I know this was a
Yeah.
flat roof.
This is a flat roof. There's one more flatter. It's got a slight pitch to it, but it's around the rear of the building. The others are pitched roofs that have shingles on
And
them.
those
So
have been
those
done?
have already been replaced or repaired.
Okay.
Yes. So we should be good for quite a while.
Great.
Thank you, Nick. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for that explanation. I believe we are moving on to approval of minutes, the town council meeting of November 18th, 2013.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any corrections, adjustments?
Couple corrections.
Go ahead, Donna.
On page 7, Dolores, after the deputy mayor commented and asked a question about how they were going to notify the public of the houses that were going to be visited and worked on, I had asked a specific question after that for more specific information because they gave kind of a general answer, and that was not added. If you could just check the tape, because I think that really narrowed down the response, and it was that those people would be contacted directly. It wasn't just leaving the door hanger and never talking to them again.
I think that, I remember
I
that.
agree
And
with
I
that
think he
memory.
said he would be back within a week to
Right.
reach them, so it's important that get in there so we can follow up if that doesn't happen. Thank you, Donna. That's
And then on page 8, just several corrections in the first paragraph, third paragraph, and fourth paragraph, taking mayor out of the front of my name and just putting counselor. I mean, you could leave it if you
Yeah,
want.
I don't mind if
think-
you leave it.
I don't think Paul would mind, but,
Isn't there a transition period of a year for that?
okay. That's it.
Thanks, Donna. Any other changes, corrections? Seeing none. Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you, Mike. And then the meeting minutes from the following meeting. The date.
Move to approve the minutes as drafted.
Second?
Thank you. Questions, corrections on that one? Seeing none. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
2 abstentions. You got that, Dolores?
Yes, I do, thank you.
Very good. Is there anyone wishing to speak, public comment at the end here? Sorry, Mr. Roy mumbled. I know you're going to sell me that after the meeting. Would you like to speak, though? Maybe better, more clearly than me.
George A. Road, 956 Cloverdale Circle. I have to really chuckle. It was almost as you were serendipitous as to what I was going to suggest. The only person I could really hear very well without any problem is Counselor Hammond. I mean, I like it. Speak up. It's very difficult. There's a lot of words that just go by the boards. Get those mics right in front of you, unless you got a loud voice like me and you can do without it. But anyway, enough fun. I had another chuckle with all this debate going on about when we can have a meeting. There's a thought, I used to have a sign at work that said, change on purpose. And the purpose is to satisfy the people of the town. So if you can't make a meeting, change. That's not so tough. Anyway, a couple of quick thoughts. Mr. Young brought up a couple of very interesting points this evening relative to the charter and voter turnout. And I don't know how you guarantee that, but that's a very difficult thing to do. But I came across a very interesting article in the New York Times. I think it was either today or yesterday. It talked about voter fraud, and voter fraud is the guise for enforcing voter suppression. And the thrust of the article was that low vote counts are really often, not often, I wouldn't say it about this council, but oftentimes is a desirable end for our political leadership. Don't get so many people out, you got a better chance of winning. So whatever you can do is to get people out to vote, I would certainly encourage. And one of the areas that is where this can happen easily, and again, I think Mayor Montanari, I think I heard you comment somewhere recently about the frustration of voters in the country. And that frustration, in a way, can manifest itself on Election Day, when you go to the polls and the methods of processing people in go back to a previous era. They're slow, they're time-consuming, they're not efficient. I think this is an area where our town manager or our elected officials here might just pay a little bit more attention to. I think there's some room for improvement on that. But in any event, that is really about the only thing that I would really want to share is on voter turnout. Also, Australia has an interesting approach. They fine their citizens when they don't vote. And maybe that's a money raise. You don't mind raising taxes, so maybe if you don't vote, you got to pay $10 fine. You know, think about it. I mean, I always vote, so I wouldn't be affected by that. So with that, I don't know if you're going to have another meeting before Christmas. If you will, then I won't wish you Merry Christmas tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Others wishing to speak? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wagner. Would never cut you short, Joe.
Good evening. I'm Joel Wagner, 203 Clearfield Road. My first real council meeting, I was at the induction ceremony council meeting, and I want to congratulate our new members. And nothing to complain about tonight. Just thank you all for serving. I know it's a lot of extra time, you know, in your lives. You all are busy too, and with families, I'm presuming. So thank you all for serving, and look forward to many more council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That's very nice. Other wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Can I do any updates, or do I need to do anything?
Sure.